Greetings, everybody. My name is Kevin Rudd. I'm President and CEO of the Asia Society. And this is our own original content series called Asian Americans Building America. I call it ABBA, but I'm told there's a band already named that as well. We're speaking with a wide range of people from different backgrounds who are making a huge impact right across this great country of ours. Today, we're joined by Southern California native Janelle Fu, an artist and designer who founded Create to Stop Hate, to bring awareness to anti-Asian hate crime, anti-Asian hate activity, and to highlight the creativity in the AAPI community. So welcome, Janelle. Tell us about yourself. How did you get to where you've got? Where have you come from? And what do you do?
Well, I am originally from Orange County, California. I am fourth generation Chinese American. So my great grandparents, they immigrated to Hawaii from China. My grandparents were born in Hawaii, and so both of my parents were also born in Hawaii. My dad is from Kona on the Big Island, and my mom is from Honolulu.
Yeah.
So yeah, they moved to California in the 70s. My dad is a physician, so they moved to California so my dad could do his residency in Long Beach. And then a couple years later, they had my brother, and then I came shortly after that. So I am born and raised in Huntington Beach, California.
I was about to say, is your fourth generation
Yes.
Chinese American, Asian American? You must get sick and tired of having to deal with this anti-Asian hate stuff. I mean,
Yes.
it's a nonsense.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it's still just unbelievable what's happened. Yeah, we haven't. But yeah, I mean, I grew up fourth generation Chinese American, so I also grew up in Orange County and Huntington Beach, where it's not, it wasn't very diverse when I was growing up there as it is now. So I grew up with mostly American traditions more than Asian traditions. I mean, like, we never even celebrated Chinese New Year, and we don't unless I'm in Hawaii with my relatives. That's kind of how Americanized I am.
Well, that's why it's just so bizarre that folks like you could still be on the receiving end of this crazy stuff.
Right.
So you've been featured in New York Times, in Martha Stewart,
Yes.
West Elm, and the LA Times. Tell us about your stained glass work and how you've used it to create to stop hate. I'm really interested in that.
Yeah. So my background is actually in apparel design and merchandising. I went to San Francisco State for that. When I moved back to LA, I started working in the wardrobe styling industry for the entertainment industry. And then I just kind of became eager to pursue other interests. I wanted to find my passion. So I went back to school in my 30s. I enrolled in a jewelry design certificate program here at a local community college. And that's where I was introduced to stained glass. I was so intimidated by this project. It was probably the most intimidating project I've ever received in my years and years of going to school. It just didn't seem like something I would ever really get good at, or ever be able to do or execute, because I mean, it's stained glass. It's what you see in churches, Frank Lloyd Wright buildings. It's like, we're going to do this. But my teacher, she reassured us. She said, people go on and they do this on their own after because they love it. So I trusted her. And as we started to learn how to do it, my connection was so immediate with stained glass that I kind of just forgot about jewelry design. I knew that this was it for me. So after I finished the certificate program, I went on to take classes on my own at a local stained glass shop here. And then a couple of years later, I opened up shop. 7 years later, here I am doing stained glass still. I love it. I feel very fortunate to be making a living as a full-time artist.
So tell us about Create to Stop Hate.
Yeah,
and the
sure.
work.
Create to Stop Hate, I started in early March. It stemmed from like just when all of the attacks on our Asian elders started to surface. I was feeling it just really struck a chord with me. Of course, it's going to hit home. And I really just felt like I wanted to do something and I needed to help in some way, but I didn't know how. And I just wanted to raffle off one of my stained glass pieces. I've done that before for like BLM, and it was always like very successful, and it's a very successful way to raise money for charities and organizations. So I was just going to do that originally, hoping to raise a couple $100, donate it to an AAPI organization. And then I thought, maybe it would be kind of nice to get a couple of my other AAPI artist friends in on it. And then we could have like a bigger raffle, raise more money. So I reached out to a couple of friends. They were all very interested right away. One of my friends couldn't donate anything at the time. So she's like, and I was like, oh, do you know anyone else that I could reach out to? She ended up giving me a list of maybe like 10 other artists. I couldn't pick one. I reached out to all of them. So from, going from one person, it turned into an auction of 70 artists. It quickly grew. And I didn't know it was going to be an auction format at first. I thought that I was going to do a raffle. I quickly learned that raffles are illegal in California. So I was like, oh man, roadblock, what am I going to do? I was also completely overwhelmed. I didn't know how I was going to organize 70 people. I've never done anything like this before. I did a lot of research. I reached out to some organizations to see if they could help me organize it. But, they were all really, really busy at the time. So I decided to take it on myself. Unfortunately, I felt like this was kind of like a time sensitive thing. I felt like we're getting some attention, and that like at some point, like it was maybe the focus was going to switch to somewhere else. So I felt like I needed to do something right away. So I kind of pulled this together in about a week. I organized 70 people. I figured out that I'm going to do an auction format. Came up with the name Create to Stop Hate, all the branding and everything, got the schedule, and then I went for it. And it was so well received. It was amazing. I couldn't believe the response that I got. At the end of round one, towards the end of round one was when the Atlanta shootings happened. And so we were finally really, really getting the attention on the problem. So it was only supposed to be one round of auctions, but I decided, like, you know what, like it was so successful, like I got to do a round two. So 4 rounds later, 260 or almost 270 artists later, we raised almost $50,000 for Stop AAPI Hate.
That's fantastic. Well done to you. It's such a great community level initiative involving artists.
Yes.
You said before that violent attacks on Asian elders is personal for you. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's that's my community. That could be my parents, that could be my grandparents. As Asians, we're taught to respect our elders, and I don't know, they're messing with the wrong people.
I like that. You're messing with the wrong people.
Yeah.
I think it's time that a bunch of white folks actually got that message loud and clear. Wrong people.
Right.
I have a view they shouldn't be messing with anybody on the grounds of race.
No, definitely not.
And that's why it's so great you've been supporting Black Lives Matters as well. Have you experienced racism yourself, personally or professionally?
Myself, if you would have asked me that before, I would have said no. But after everything that's happened, after hearing a lot of stories from other Asian Americans, I think that I realized that, yeah, I have experienced racism, maybe in a more subtle way, like more of like a microaggression. But like, yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, there is kids that were always making fun of my slanted eyes or, my flat nose, things like that, or just, people that would ask me, where are you from? And then I'd be like, I'm from Orange County. And they're like, yeah, but where are you from? And I'm like, I am from Orange County. Like, I don't know what answer you're looking for. Or maybe I do, and I'm just ignoring you.
When I was a student in Taiwan years ago, riding a bus to university and to college, all the kids used to chant at me, "Hey, look at the hairy nose, big nose."
Oh, yeah.
So basically, any form of race based on what we look like is just dumb wherever it occurs, and it's offensive. It's offensive.
Yeah. So, I mean, I would say it wasn't so in my face until recently. I did do this project for Asian Heritage Month with Comcast, and they posted my project with my backstory behind it. And that was the first time I got like a lot of Twitter replies that were like very blatant racist comments towards me. And that was like, wow.
Yeah, it's interesting when you lift up that rock, what centipede fall out from underneath it.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, that's just, the love hate of social media and the internet.
Yeah. But when it's race-based, it has a particularly ugly dimension to it.
Tell me, very ugly.
Last question to you. Are you proud to be an American? Proud to be an Asian American? And what would you say to other Asian Americans going through a tough time at present on this?
Yeah, it's not something that I would have really thought about before all of this happened. But I did, feel like I kind of went through this identity crisis recently where, the feeling of being kind of confused about my identity was always there, but I never really took time to think about it. And I didn't think that I could talk about it because I didn't think anyone would understand. But through my work with Great to Stop Hate, through talking, through hearing other Asian American stories, through talking even to my brother, it's made me realize that I'm not alone with this feeling at all. And it's brought a lot of it to light. So I never thought about what it meant before. And now I've had so much time to kind of self-reflect, and I've kind of, gone through this self-discovery that I feel like I'm very comfortable with who I am. And if anything, now I have like a really big sense of pride of being Asian American. And also, I feel like I've never really embraced my Chinese side, like the Chinese culture. I've always been like embraced kind of like my American side, but now I have this newfound pride for my Chinese culture as well. But yeah, I think, I'm who I am. I'm Chinese, but I'm also American. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of, I'm proud of, the progression that's happened through the last like 7+ months, through like everything that the community has gone through. Just seeing everybody come together and just how strong we are when we come together. It's been a very big sense of pride for me. And also it's just, I think there's just a lot to look forward to. I mean, I have a lot of hope for the future. I think it's amazing that we're finally in a time where we're seeing a lot more representation of Asian Americans in movies and TV and, Asians running large companies. But I mean, like, we just saw like the first Marvel Asian superhero, which is something I never in a million years would have thought when I was younger. When I was young, there was nobody that looked like me on TV. So I think we have a long way to go, but I think we're getting somewhere.
If there's any consolation, there was never a superhero that looked like me either. I guess that's the thing about being a superhero. You're kind of, you're out there.
Yeah. But yeah, it is good to see a little more representation and like people on TV that actually I'm like, oh my God, like it's an Asian lead role. That's something I never thought. And then, yeah, I don't know, like, I'm sorry, I forgot your second question.
No, it's okay. I mean, I was simply asking you also, what if you had a young Asian American boy or girl with you now, 12 years old, who's experienced their first racism in the playground? Given all the experience that you've had in your life, what would you say to them in terms of how to navigate that?
I would just say, you be proud of who you are, be proud of, being American and also being Asian. And don't let these Asian, what people think about, Asian Americans, or don't let them like trap you into this box, and just be who you are and be proud of that.
Great response, my friend. Janet Fu, thank you so much for being with us today. We're very grateful for your creative spirit and your work.
Thank you.
All you're doing to bring light to the AAPI artist community. My name's Kevin Rudd with the Asia Society. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a privilege to talk to you. Thank you so much.